a really crucial moment. The 2025 to 2030 AI infrastructure arms race. It's hit what they're calling a decisive turning point.
It really has. And if you want to understand what's happening, you have to see three tectonic shifts that are reshaping everything.
Okay, let's get into them. What's the first one?
First is the hardware layer split. I mean, you've got Google going all in on their own vertically integrated Ironwood TPU.
And everyone else is basically on commercial chips from NVIDIA.
Pretty much. The second is the sheer scale of the spending, the CapEx war. The top four hyperscalers are looking at, $380 billion in 2025 alone.
$380 billion. That's an incredible amount of capital, especially when you hear that most enterprise AI projects are still failing to launch. Isn't that a massive gamble?
It is, but it's driven by this philosophy, you could call it Pichaism. The idea is that the risk of underinvesting right now is way, way bigger than the risk of overinvesting.
Okay, so that spending is fueling the third shift.
Exactly. This software reconfiguration, all powered by this new thing called agentic AI. And that brings us to the key insight. The whole industry is moving away from just focusing on pre-training compute.
Which is basically how big the model is, how much it was taught.
Right. And now they're prioritizing something called test time compute.
All right, let's unpack that. What does test time compute actually mean in practice?
Well, think of it as the AI's ability to, really think hard about a problem you give it. It's not just spitting out a memorized answer. It's about dynamic problem solving.
And we're seeing this in Google's Gemini 3. The sources say it's more than just an upgrade. It's a whole architectural shift.
It's a pivot to solving problems is the phrase they use. And the core of it is this integrated deep think mode.
So deep think is basically test time compute scaling. It lets the model decide to use, 1,000 times more resources for internal deduction before it gives you an answer, like a super extended chain of thought.
Precisely. And this unlocks capabilities our sources are calling vibe coding.
Vibe coding, I like that. What's an example?
We're talking true end-to-end stuff. You take a photo of a napkin sketch and it generates a fully functional web page. Or you give it an hour-long sports broadcast and it gives you a granular tactical breakdown. It's moving the AI from being a chat tool
to being an actual operating system.
That's it. And you can see how this puts competitors, even OpenAI, into what the sources call a defensive posture. They're apparently dealing with pre-training hitches and some rough vibes internally, even with their new releases.
And this all needs a foundation, an infrastructure to support it.
It does. And that's where Google's internal directive comes in. A 1,000 times ability increase by 2029.
1,000 times. That means they have to double their service capacity every 6 months.
Yes, because agentic AI creates these incredibly inference-heavy workloads. A single complex task can require exponentially more compute than a simple chat query.
And the hardware foundation for that jump?
It's the custom, vertically integrated Ironwood TPU, the V7. It's the key.
Because it's co-designed with the Gemini software.
Exactly. It creates this huge structural cost advantage. It's way more energy efficient for these inference tasks, and it lets Google completely sidestep the NVIDIA tax.
So that gives them a cost moat that other cloud providers just can't compete with.
Right. And it's even got a specialized sparse core module to accelerate mixture of experts models, which is how you run these giant AIs efficiently. This is all fundamental to winning that CapEx war.
Let's talk about the economic impact. This massive spending is creating what's being called a generative AI divide. We said 95% of enterprise AI projects fail. Why is that?
Because they all fell into the chat trap. They just built simple Q&A bots, these little dialogue interfaces. They were wrappers, not solutions.
So they didn't integrate deeply enough to actually generate a return on investment? The era of the simple wrapper is over.
Over. The focus now is entirely on vertical saws and true agentic AI.
Like Ambience Healthcare, building an AI OS that's deeply integrated with medical records.
Yes. And the VCs are demanding this. Y Combinator is telling founders explicitly, build full-stack AI startups. Don't just augment a service. Build the thing that replaces it entirely.
Okay, so let's connect this back. If Google is really chasing a 1,000x ability increase, doubling its power needs every 6 months, you run straight into the laws of physics.
You do. And when compute scales that fast, your biggest problem isn't the silicon anymore. It's what the sources call the energy wall.
Which leaves a really provocative thought for you to chew on. What does it actually mean for our world when these tech giants are forced to go beyond the public grid and start seriously considering their own dedicated power solutions, like small modular reactors, just to feed their AI?